Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good afternoon. So today we're going to continue on chapter 4, network layer. So last week I already discussed about the introduction of subnetting, what is it, why it is important. So today we're going to discuss on how we want to do or plan the subnetting for our network, computer network. So when planning for subnetting, you need to know three things. The first three things is the total number of subnet that you need, the number of hosts per subnet that you need, and the available network and subnet which will be subnetted. After that, we need to also find out or plan the subnet mask to be used across the network, the valid subnet. You also need to know the network address and broadcast address for each subnet and the valid host addresses in each subnet. Let's look into this example. You have a network address 172.19.0.0 which is a B class network, or we can say that /16 network mask. So for B class, you know that the first 2 octet is the network and the last 2 octet is the host. So this is the network mask /16. So in this example, we're going to use the subnet mask of /24. So means that there's a 24 network, which is the first 3 octet will be the network, while the last octet is the host. So you need to know the difference between network mask and subnet mask. So network mask, it depends on the class, A class, B class or C class, depending on the address of this first number. You can identify it. And usually the subnet mask is either you need to plan it yourself, or the question is given, it is given to you in the question. So first thing you need to do is you need to know which one is the subnet and which one is the network address. So first you need to do this. You need to write down in binary the network mask. So means, and then this is the host. Okay, so this is the network mask, which is /16, means 2 octet. The first 2 octet is the network address. So why /16? Because it uses 16 binary bit, the first 16 binary bit as the network. So if it's /24 means it uses 24 bits, binary bits in the addresses. So you need to put all of this 1, and host should be 0. So from this table, you know that the different 0 and 1 will be the subnet, which is this octet here is the subnet, and if it's the same, this is the network, and lastly, if it's the same of the 0, means this is the host address. So now you already identify the subnet, which is at the third octet of the IP address. Okay, so next we're going to find the available subnet. So how many available subnet that we can use? in the IP address given. So we know that the subnet mask uses 8 bit or 1 octet in the IP address. So means that can use this equation 2 power of 8. 8 is divided the bit, how many bit it available for the subnet, and you need to minus 1. So minus 1 here is we need to minus 1 because the last subnet is used for broadcast address. So that's why you need to minus 1 for the subnet address. So for this IP address, we know that the total of the subnet mask or the available subnet is 255. And then you need to know the available host address. So for each subnet here, we can provide up to 254 hosts. So each subnet here provide 254 hosts. So if we have for this IP address, we have 255 subnet. Means that for each subnet here, we can assign up to 254 hosts. So 254, where do you get this 254 number? This number can use this equation 2 power of 8. 8 here is the bit of the host. So here we have 8 bit. So that's why this equation 2 power of 8 minus 2. 2 means there's a network address and broadcast address that we cannot use as the host. That's why we need to minus 2. So what is the broadcast address of this subnet? So this is the last here is the broadcast address. Means that it depends on the network mask. And this is the example on how you're going to plan or assign the subnet in your local network. For example, you have 4 labs here: lab A, lab B, lab C, and lab D in block B. For example, and you're going to use the subnet and you plan it. In this, each lab has 30 computers. So you can use subnetting for these 4 labs. So if you look at this number here, 5, 25, 10. So this is the subnet number that is changed depend on the lab itself. So each lab has their own subnet number. So you can assign any random number from 0 to 255 for the subnet. And then for the host, so it depends on the number of computer inside the lab. So it can provide up to 254 hosts. However, in this lab only has 30 computers. So it can we can assign any random number from 0 to 254. And the first 2 octet here should be fixed for all 4 lab because it is the class B network. Let's look into another example number 2. So in this question, they gave you host IP address, network mask, and subnet mask. So from this information, we know that this is class B network. Given the following host IP address, network mask, and subnet mask, find the following information. So the question asks to find the major network information, which is the major network address, major network broadcast address, and range of hosts if not subnetted. So major means that the class B. So you need to find the class B network address and also the class B broadcast address. And then after this second question, it will focus on the subnet. So find the subnet address, range of host addresses for the subnet, broadcast address, and then we also need to find the total number of subnets and number of hosts per subnet. So let's look into the major network information. Let's find it. So from this information given, we know that this is class B. So the major network address is 138.101.0.0. So .0.0 here is class B from. So this one is, we get it from the IP address given. And this two is the host because this is class B. And then the major network address, major network broadcast address. So means that for the broadcast, we need all the hosts here is 1. So you get 255, sorry. Yeah. So this all A, if it's binary means that it's like this. So for broadcast, all hosts, or for broadcast address, all hosts need to be 1 in binary. And the range of hosts, if not subnetted, means that you need to exclude the network and also the broadcast address. So it will start from 0.1 until 255.254. So this is the range of hosts here. So it depends on class. If it's A class or class B, class C. So for example, class C, you have the last three octet is the last one octet is the host. So means that you only have 8 bit for the host. If it's class A, you have the last three octet as the host, so means that you have 24 bit for host. So it depends. So you need to know how to define class A and class B and class C. So the next step is to convert the IP address and the mask address here into binary. So it's for you, it's to make it easier for you to differentiate which is the subnet, which is the network, and which is the host bit. Okay, so this is the first step. So you can use calculator. So for IP address 138.101.114.250, convert it to binary, and for the mask, which is the subnet mask. So this is the subnet mask. Subnet mask. So you need to convert it from 255.255.255.192, convert it to binary. And after that, you can find the subnet address. So from these two binary bits, you need to do AND operation. So means if it's 1 and 1, you get 1, 0 and 1, you get 0, and so on You need to make it all of it into using AND operation here like this. Okay, so this will be the subnet address. So the next step, which still is in step 2, you can define the host of the subnet address. So the host should be, you need to find the rightmost one bit in the subnet mask, which is here. So the last one, so this is the last, so all of it 0, so this is the host. So this is the host, the red one here. So how many bit you have for the host? 1 2 3 4 5 6. Say 6 bit for the host. And from here we also know where is the subnet range. So this is the host that we already discussed on the next slide before, which we use SD, we call it small divide, to divide between host and subnet and network. And to find the subnet range, subnet bit, you need to make another divider, we call it grade divide. So grade divide here, we have to compare with the we need to look back at what class the question give. For this example, it uses class B, right? If you look back, it given a network mask of 255.255.0.0, which is class B. So class B means the first 2 octet is the network. So that's why we divide the grade divide here, we place it at the network and between network and host in class B. So that's why we put it here. So we already know, from here we know that the subnet counting range or the bit is from this line, from this divider to this divider. So we have how many bits? 8, 9, 10. 10 bits for the subnet. So for step 4, we need to find the first host and the last host for the IP address. So we know that the range of hosts is here, the 6 last bit of the IP address. So we just place, put the first address should be, the first host should be 00001, and the last address should be 11111. However, if it's all 1, it means it is the broadcast address. So before that is this binary sequence 111110. So the first host should be this number, this binary bit, and the last host should be this binary bit, and the first and the last bit should be the network address and the broadcast address. So it's easier for you to write in binary. If you want to convert it to the decimal, you have to be careful because you cannot convert it just the 6 bit here, but you need to include also these 2 bit outside the box here, because this is inside the same octet, although this is the range for the subnet. So be careful. So for the safe side, you stick on the binary, and after that you can convert it to the decimal, and then watch out for the octet. So for the step 5, we need to find the total number of subnet. So we just calculate how many bits for the subnet range, which is from from this divider to this divider, GD and SD. So we have 10 bits. So we just use this equation, 2 power of 10 minus 1. 1 is the broadcast address. So we get 1023 total of subnets. And the last question is the total number of hosts per subnet. So for each subnet, how many hosts we can assign. So we just use this equation, 2 power of the number of bits in the host minus 2. So in this question, the host has 6 bits. So that's why 2 power of 6 minus 2. 2 is the broadcast and the network address. And we get 62 hosts per subnet. Okay, let's look into this example 3. In this example, the question only give you IP address and subnet mask. The IP address is 192.168.114.250 and the mask subnet mask is 255.255.255.192 or /16. So first you need to find the major network information. So for the major network address, we know that this host here, because it starts with 192, this is class C IP address. So class C means the last host here, the last octet here is the host, and the other first three here is the network. So from here we know that the major network address will be 192.168.114.0. So this is the network address. And for the network broadcast address, the major network broadcast address should be the host should be all 1 in binary. So it means that you get 168.114.255. And what is the range of hosts if it's not subnetted? So it should be from 192.168.114.1 to 192.168.114.254. So we have to not include the network address and also the broadcast address for the host. So now we're going to look into the subnetting. So here we need to identify where is the subnet, where is the host, and where is the network range. So in this case, it is better for you to make all of this into binary. For me, I usually change the subnet mask to the binary so that I can see and identify which is the host, subnet, and also the network range. So subnet mask in binary will get so here we have 24 bit and we need to add another 2 to okay, because here we know that this is /26 for the subnet, so it means that there should be 26 bit of 1 here. So we have 8 here, 8 here, 8 here, another 2 here in this last octet. So from here we know that we can create a small divide here, which is to identify the host range. So we know that if it's 0 bit here, so this is the host range. So after that, you also need to identify the subnet bit or range. So we know that this is class C. So class C, it should be the first 3 octet should be the network range, network address. So we change, okay, green, okay. So means that the available 2 bit here is the subnet. So we know that the great divide is here. So SD small divide is here, and great divide is over here. Okay, so now you know, and you can identify which is the network, which is this one, network, subnet, and host. Let's put, sorry, host, this is subnet, and last one should be this is the network range. Okay, so from this, once you already identify this, so it's easier for you to answer all the question. So from this subnet mask in binary, we can easily find the total of subnet number and also total of the host per subnet. So let's look into the total subnet. Total subnet that we can find is should be equal to 2 power of 2 power of 2 minus 1. Okay, 2 here because we have 2 binary bit here, so that's why we use 2 power of 2 minus 1 is the broadcast. We need to broadcast address, we need to minus it, so we get 3 subnet, total of subnets. Another question is to find the total host for each subnet. So for this one, we need to know the total number of bits in the host range. So here 2 power of 6 minus 2 is the broadcast and the address, so we need to change it. Oh, sorry. 2 power of 6 minus 2, so you will get 64 minus 2 should be 62 hosts. Okay, in order to find the subnet address, you need to use an operation between this IP address and subnet address. So the easiest way is using, you need to convert it to the binary bits. But here I'll just write it down, because this is 255 means all of this is 1. So if this all 1, it means that it should be the same as the IP address 192.168.114. So here is different because you need to change it to binary and do the AND operation, because you might get confused if you use the decimal. So for this answer is you will get 192 for the subnet address. For the range of let's change it to binary, 11. Okay, this in binary .11000. So this in binary. After you end this 250 and 192 in binary. So for the range of host address, it should be 192.168.114. I will write down in binary for you to easier to understand. 1 until 192.168.114. Okay, it should be like this. Make it smaller. Okay. So this should be 168. Okay, so if you look at this, only this bit is changed, which is the host range. The host range, we know that this host range is at the for the last bit, 6 last bit from the total. So this is the range of the host. We need to exclude the network address and also the broadcast address. And lastly, to find the broadcast address, should be the same here. However, the broadcast address, all the hosts should be 1. So that's why we change this into 1. So this is the broadcast address. So I hope you understand the example I gave you for the subnetting. So that's all for today. Next week, going to discuss and do some exercise on VLSM, variable length subnet mask. The technique is much easier compared to the subnetting. Okay, see you next week. Assalamualaikum.